Hey everybody, Justin Stivers, owner of the Probate Law Firm here. Finishing up this four-part series on the four stages of probate. This is the fourth and final stage of probate. If you have questions about what do you need to do after somebody passes away, what's the first step to take when somebody passes away, how to open up a probate, how long the probate takes, and what you need to do to find all of the assets, dealing with creditors, all that sort of stuff, opening up a restricted bank account to put all of the assets in. Go back and, I'd encourage you to find the first couple of videos and watch those. This video is the fourth stage, the final stage. So now what we're talking about is closing out the probate. So just a real quick recap, it takes so in the very beginning, once we start the probate phase, we're talking about Florida here, it's going to take about 30 to 45 days, 1 month more or less to get the personal representative appointed by the court. Once we have the personal representative appointed, now we're going to do what's called a notice to creditors and have a 90-day creditor period where we're trying to find assets, we're paying off creditors if there are any. Okay, opening up a restricted account. That's going to take, like I said, 90 days. So now we're at the end of month 4. And now in month 5, now we're starting to close out the probate. And I do want to mention, if you don't have a copy already, this is a book that I wrote on probate that I think is really, really helpful, answers a lot of those basic questions. How long does probate take? Who gets what, when do you need to do a probate, and how do you find an attorney and all that sort of stuff. So if you just go to our website, probatefirm.com, www.probatefirm.com, you can download a free copy of it in PDF form. If you want a hard copy, just send us an email and we'll be happy to send you one free of charge. But so now we're at the end of the probate stage, right? So now we've dealt with all the creditors. We've paid any creditors if there are any, and if they need to get paid. We found all of the assets. We found all the property. We found, it's getting a little out of control. Found all the houses, if there are any land, any bank accounts, all of that. So we found everything. So now we're at the end, probably around month 5. Now we're going to start trying to transfer the property. So what do we need to do? Well, there's really, I guess, 2 main things that we're doing. First, we're going to do what's called a final accounting, all right? And this is where we're going to look at all of the money that's been spent dealing with administering the estate. So if you are the personal representative, did you have to pay money out of pocket? Did you have to pay notaries? Did you have to order documents? Did you have to pay an attorney? Did you have to pay creditors out of pocket? Did you pay the mortgage bill, the lights bill, all that stuff? How much did you spend personally, funeral costs, all that sort of stuff? What, basically from the day that this person passed away to where we're at now, what have you spent? We're going to take all that money and we're going to do a final accounting. If there was money in the estate that we had to pay, so let's say that John died and he had money in a Wells Fargo or a Bank of America account or whatnot, and he had a mortgage. And so we had to pay from his account, we had to pay his mortgage. We're going to take an accounting of that. Where did all that money go? Basically, the court needs to see when John died, he had how much money is left, and where did all that money go? And if you are the representative, when you started, how much money did you have to put in to administer the entire estate? So we're going to do what's called a final accounting. Expenses, everything like that. Once we've got that in order, now we're going to do what's called a petition for distribution and a petition for discharge. The petition for distribution, this is where we're asking the court to give the money or give whatever there is to all of the beneficiaries. So again, let's say John died and he had $100,000 in a Wells Fargo account. Well, in stage 3 of the probate, what we would have done is we would have taken that money out of the Wells Fargo account. We would have taken that $100,000. We would have opened up a restricted account, okay, that only the court had access to. We could not withdraw money or do anything with it. It's a restricted account. So we would have taken that $100,000 from the Wells Fargo account, put it into the restricted account. Now that the probate is, now we're getting ready to finalize it, we would ask the court, look, judge, there's a son and a daughter. They're going to receive the money. There's no creditors. Let us distribute that $100,000 to the son and daughter, $50,000 to the son, $50,000 to the daughter. And so we go to court, we'd ask that, we get a piece of paper, we get that piece of paper from the judge, we give it to the restricted bank, and they're going to mail us, usually they mail us, the attorney, the check, and then we send the check directly to the client. So that's the most common thing when we're talking about cash or anything like that. We're talking about distributing the cash. We might also be talking about real estate. So depending on the type of real estate, we may be asking to sell real estate. We may be asking to transfer the real estate into the new owner's name. So if John died and he had one son and we need to transfer the property to the son's name, probably around the same time we're going to do something to ask the court to transfer the property to his name. So final stage distribution, we're asking to get everything finalized, get the final accounting so that we know how much is actually left, who needs to get paid, does the attorney still need to get paid, is there a CPA that needs to get paid, are there other people, who else has to get paid? And then we're going to ask to distribute it to the beneficiaries. Once everybody we've got that number finalized and we're getting ready to distribute it and we have the money, we're going to make sure they all sign receipts. They sign receipts that they received what we said they're going to receive. Now, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to do that petition for discharge. And what we're doing is we're just basically saying, Judge, look, everything was taken care of. The estate was administered. Everyone got paid who needed to get paid. Here's a copy of their receipts saying that they got paid. Now we want to release the personal representative. They no longer have any obligation, no longer have any duties to this estate, and then close out the estate and end the probate. And that's the petition for discharge. Sometimes we do them together, a petition for distribution and a petition for discharge. We do them together. Just depends. Sometimes we do separately. Once the personal representative is discharged, probate's over. Case is done. Nothing else that we need to do. And everyone's happy. Hopefully everyone's happy. So on average, for most of the probates, it's probably going to be about 7 months from the very beginning to getting that final piece of paper that's, discharging the representative, which is really the end of the case when the judge, at that point, they're going to close the case out. About a 7-month process, more or less. And that's really it. A lot of the stages that we were talking about had to do with managing, relationships, managing siblings fighting. Hopefully at this point, the fact that we're able to close it, everyone's relatively satisfied. There's obviously going to maybe be somebody who's not happy, thought they didn't get their fair share. But if the judge let us close out the estate and we did our final accounting, then everything was done, proper, at least by the court's books, and we're good to go. So, this stage shouldn't take that long if we've done our job, if everything was taken care of during those first 3 stages, when all we're doing right now is we're just asking the court to distribute the money. It shouldn't take too long. It can take a month or 2, depending if we have to get a court hearing, and then we have to get the piece of paper from the judge, and then we have to give it to the bank, and then the bank has to write the checks. They mail it to us. We have to mail it to you or the client. So sometimes it can take a little bit of time, but there's not, this is not most of the time where we're going to see a lot of the hiccups or the fighting. That would have happened before. At this point, once everything's kind of found and resolved, should be relatively smooth. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this 4-part series. I've had a good time, doing it. I might do another something similar where it's a little bit longer, maybe go in more detail. I've tried to summarize this and keep it as short as I could. Like I said, if you guys have questions, go to probatefirm.com. If you want a copy of this book, A Loved One Has Died, Now What? The Ultimate Guide to Probate in Florida. Highly recommend it. You can get a free copy, PDF version. Just go and download it, request it on our website, probatefirm.com. Check us out. Happy to help. We are licensed in Florida and in Tennessee as of filming this. So happy to help any way we can. Appreciate it. Learn more about us, the Probate Law Firm. Find us on Facebook, all social media platforms. And thank you guys. We'll talk to y'all soon. Take care.